And we're live.
That's what that was.
Just a couple notes in there.
I feel like there was some parts that were missed.
It was the it was the simplified version. It's the ringtone version. Well, good. Now we're actually live. All right.
Okay. I need to collect my thoughts after that. Automatones are really good for just like flatlining your brain. Everybody, just want to let you know. Welcome back, everybody, to the Shield Against Midnight, a 7th edition Call of Cthulhu game set in 1969. It's been a long journey for our CIA agents, protagonists. They're really not heroes. Like, I don't think they've even made an effort to be heroes. They've kind of executed a few people. It's been a little brutal. But it's been a long and difficult journey here in Vietnam, from a lack of information leading them into a three-way battle between Khmer Rouge soldiers, deep ones rising from the depths of the briny sea, and of course the Marine Corps stationed on the remote island of Phu Quoc. And now the rain cloud seems to have cleared, and our party is left in the aftermath of their mission, waiting for how would you describe it? Waiting for a significant event that was prophesized on intercepted enemy radio transmissions. Although for the moment it seems as if there will be nobody alive to carry out this intended event, as the jungle surrounding the little farmstead upon which the party has taken their shelter are remarkably still. Chase and Parvana are outside right now, having an existential discussion, while the rest of the party remains inside a small shed set upon a peppercorn farm. And assuming nobody's going to immediately jump to action, time will pass. All of this previous sounds of battle faded long before even the storm quit. Even the storm now, you hear the faint patter of raindrops dripping off the roof and forming into puddles, but otherwise, the storm itself has abated, but there's still that dampness in the air. And that seems to be the only noise you can actually hear going on right now. The jungle is eerily still as the clock ticks forward. You've got a lot of free time right now, and not a lot going on.
They're in the trees, man.
Apparently, Anderson's going to keep up with her paranoid ramblings. Is anybody else going to do anything?
Chase was throwing bodies into a ditch.
That's true. You did drag a couple of dead bodies into a ditch.
Ravana was going to go inside and tell everyone. They piled dirt up against the walls. Fight on our hands.
That one I didn't remember. But assuming that Parvana did do that, since Dan is not here with us tonight.
I do remember
Yeah,
you
he did.
talking about this.
Okay, yep, then it must have slipped my mind. Well, I take it you guys are going to grab a couple of rusty shovels and pile up dirt on the walls in case you get in trouble again?
Yes.
Gwen is not. She's not participating in the group activity.
What a bitch.
Mhm.
Sorry.
Was
No.
that in character?
No, that wasn't.
I'm like, oh, are we doing this?
No, that wasn't in character. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, no, Gwen's not doing anything. She's just kind of sitting with her rocket and just pulling herself further and further into her shell.
Well, we've got one person who's not cooperating. What's everybody else doing?
Sage is cooperating. She's just not much else.
So she's just basically going to be going through the motions, you know, grabbing a shovel, digging, piling it up against the wall, not really putting any real effort into it.
Pretty much. She'll be helping, just maybe not as efficiently as she could be.
Okay. Like I said, it's been a rough day for you all. The group is sleep deprived after all. The troubles kind of started during your normal rest schedule, so you've been going at this without sleeping. Anderson, what are you doing?
She would be doing the piling of the dirt up on the sides. Or are we talking about once that's done?
No, I'm talking about in the immediate. So you are just going to more or less set up some improvised cover inside the shed.
Yeah, she's also going to be checking and rechecking the guns. Given what's happened in the last day or so, it makes sense for her to make sure that all of the magazines are okay and that all the bullets look fine and that the guns themselves are functioning properly.
Of course.
Every now and then, Sage will stop and you'll see her take out her knives and sharpen them. Not really concentrating as much as she should be doing that, but she will every now and then take out her knives and sharpen them.
Takes his sweet time to move two bodies, which would take like 5 minutes, and somehow stretches it into it.
Well, in that case, Chase, can you give me a spot hidden or listen check? That's going to be a hard success. Once again, you see a rustling in the brush around the farm, a bit of a ways off, and you can right away pick out the uniforms of GIs, as it seems like they're pulling out of the village. But they don't head all the way back to their previous station at the prison. You can see them setting up a cordon. They're not so much digging in as much as just setting up a perimeter around the village without being directly inside of it.
I mean, how far away are these?
The closest soldier would probably be about 100 feet away, leaned up against a tree, sitting down and lighting a cigarette.
Assuming he doesn't like get up and just.
Well, the man would sort of, as soon as he sees Chase moving over towards him, reach as if going for the weapon, but then realizing that he's a white guy, not necessarily immediately pointing a gun at him, just kind of looking confused.
Find anything in the town?
Guy shakes his head and thumbs his lighter a few more times and then gives it a shake. No, we didn't make it in. We were told over the radio to pull back before we even got inside. Must have been something fucky though, because apparently the first team in, I don't know what they were saying over the radio, but it wouldn't make any sense to me.
Still in town?
Mm-mm. Everybody pulled out. They're heading back to the prison there, as I can tell. Man sort of stretches.
That was out of character. I apologize. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. It would basically be about a mile down the road until you came to an intersection, and then 2 miles down the main road that runs the length of the island.
Chase kind of asks the guy, how far back is this cordon extended? Checkpoint or the last?
We're basically the perimeter. We got another. Hang on. Who are you?
Chase smiles. Last time they didn't ask for ID. So at least this one is thinking. Chase actually goes and pulls out his.
Oh, spook. All right. Yeah, we've got another team, a few hundred yards that away. It's basically a big semicircle, two teams deep. So anything going in now, it's gonna have to go through at least 2 teams to get in.
Dangerous in there, I think?
Nah, doesn't seem so. We ain't gotten any fire for a while now. Been about 45 minutes since we've heard anything hostile. Seems to have gone quiet.
Who's in charge of the cordons down there?
That'd be the colonel up at the prison.
Got a name, soldier?
Ugh. Hightower. Colonel Hightower.
I've heard of him. He turned a car over in Police Academy, didn't
God damn it, Jay.
Uh-oh.
I hate it when he picks up on my references like immediately.
Someone's meme got busted.
My meme got busted. I
Thank you,
mean, he
soldier.
looks. Yep.
Chase just kind of goes and kind of casually walks back into the shack and goes for his duffel. Starts rooting around inside.
What are you looking for?
Actually, I'm giving people a chance to shout at Chase, but
Oh,
he's
okay.
looking for his camera.
Anybody want to shout at Chase? Now's your
What?
opportunity.
Why are we shouting at Chase?
Yeah, I don't quite understand why.
All right, cool. If no one has a problem with what he's
All right.
done, Chase.
Well,
Takes
he's
his camera?
outside the shed, and
No,
we're-
he's come back inside. He's
Yeah,
come
he
back
just walked
inside. He's come
Oh.
back inside.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
What are you doing?
Apparently there's something going on in the town. I want to get some pictures before we have to leave.
Anderson raises an eyebrow.
Really?
You got a better way of recording information?
Given what's already out, we've already seen, don't you think it would be good to bring some backup or not go where there are things that can rip your head off?
Said it sounds fairly peaceful. Haven't had any shots in 45 minutes.
Peaceful is not the same.
Well, I wasn't planning on bringing the rest of you, but if you prefer, I can just leave the intelligence here with you and take myself. If something happens to me, all you gotta do is take this duffel and get on the helicopter. But if there's still actionable intelligence inside the town, I still got a job to do. You all look pretty burned out at this point.
I think it would be a good idea for you to leave the intelligence here with us.
Problem with that. That was my intention.
Yeah,
Only thing
whatever
they'd
you
miss
wanna
out
do.
on is one last roll of film. Bad enough that I can't take a picture of it. Then they'll get the field reports from the soldiers of the cordon.
Anderson's eyebrow just goes higher. It's like, okay. Do what you think is best.
Hesitates like he's gonna say something about his best, but then decides not to and just walks out.
All right. Well, as you head up the road, you're going to see another of the GIs set up alongside either side of the road. Not really in on the road itself, as it offers no cover. They've kind of taken cover in the ditch on either side. But as you approach the road, a soldier will sort of step up onto the road and flag you down.
Chase just pulls out his ID, doesn't really say much otherwise.
The man gets a good look at the ID, and then just waves you through. You can see him actually get on the radio and report up to the team up ahead that they've got you're coming through, more or less, letting them know ahead.
Chase continues his unsullied walk down the road.
You'll pass the second team, and this time they don't even get out of their cover. You get one guy who's leaning up against a tree, gives kind of a sarcastic wave as you walk up the road, but otherwise nobody really pays attention to you.
Turns the sarcastic wave with an
But you managed to get back into the village, now soaked in rainwater and a significant amount of blood. As the
sorry.
Well, as the man said, it seems all quiet. There doesn't seem to be much of anything going on.
I'm trying to decide whether it's best to start out with a spot hidden, then do photography of what I find, or just do photography in general.
Well, spot hidden will, of course, let you find anything hiding away. Photography will just catalog things as is. You're not going to get anything. You're not going to find anything that's been stowed away.
Well, then I guess we'll start with spot hidden.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm going to go ahead and say that returning to the scene of the bloodshed with so much carnage around you, it's going to pull back on those memories of the Congo as well as the most recent trauma that you've been through, and that's going to be a sanity check. Okay. Intelligence for me, please. And that means you do not, what's the word? You internalize it.
Oh.
Yeah, you rationalize it, so that's going to be 1d3 sanity loss. Okay. Otherwise, no, you don't see anything hidden away. You simply see the carnage as it is, as it has been.
You know, we're looking at the last session. I'm gonna push it.
You're gonna really?
Push it.
Okay.
Can't go worse than that.
I mean, can you technically push a fumble, or would that just count as a new roll? I'm gonna allow it
Normally you can push any roll, but fumble is still a
I'm
fumble.
going to allow it because I don't. Yeah, it's a fumble, but I'm gonna allow you to push it. I don't care to be digging through the rule books over something that small.
Well, I fail.
I'm
There you go.
gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and say that you waste a lot of time going through the village. As you search through the village, you're just going to be there for. Roll 1d4 for me, please. You're wasting 3 hours in this village with no results.
Alright, well, I'm gonna have him just photograph stuff while he's there anyway.
Okay.
Well.
Yeah.
Wow, my first failure on that roll.
Yeah, which is amazing considering it's a 45% chance. Okay.
So I really just don't get anything of interest on top of it, so.
No, you more or less everything that you see during those 3 hours is stuff you've seen before. The bloodshed, the carnage, the deep one bodies still lying out in the sun. They're probably the most disturbing up close to see them with their unblinking eyes and their terrible alien anatomy. You can see pretty
Probably why
clearly.
they cordoned it off.
Yeah, and you can also see pretty clearly why the first team that went in would be freaked out and pulled out. But you're again, this is stuff you've all recorded before. You're really getting nothing new. So back to the rest of the party. You've now got small trenches and basically sandbag walls, for lack of a better term. What are you guys going to try to do? Are you going to just sit down and relax? Are you going to try and get some sleep? Or are you going to look around?
I'm gonna try to do some sanity recovery.
Okay. How are you trying to recover sanity? What are
I
you using?
apparently can't open my character sheet.
Well, you do have a meaningful location, a place of quiet contemplation. Okay.
I don't know what's
Sure.
going on. I can't open this thing.
Well,
That means I can't roll either.
yeah.
Hell, hold on.
Refresh.
Yeah, give it a
Yeah.
refresh real quick.
Ah, okay, there we go.
All right, yes, go ahead and roll your sanity recovery. Okay, roll 1d10. Wow. Shame that you're going to waste 6 points of that.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so you're back up at your max sanity of 60. As Anderson settles down into one of the little grooves dug in the ground and has herself a mental break. Not a mental breakdown, just a mental rest.
I mean, I would do the same, but both Gwen and Rocket are max right now, so.
Might be a good idea to get some sleep.
Oh, then yeah, I'm gonna take a nap.
Yeah. It's not going to be very comfortable. You are lying on the dirty, cold, hard ground.
Fuck you, I'm using the dog as a pillow.
The dog with the broken rib.
I'm not gonna lay on his rib, I'll lay on his hip or something. Fuck this. She's snuggling, okay?
Okay, you can snuggle the dog, but gently.
She'll probably end up kind of dozing off. She'll push herself up into a corner and have the dog kind of like curled up in a little heap on her lap, and she's got her arms around him and she's kind of leaning against both him and the corner of the wall and basically falling asleep sitting upright.
Yep, okay. So Gwen's passed out in the corner, and that leaves Sage. What are you
Well,
up to?
Say
lightly
since
napping.
those two are falling asleep, Sage will be like, okay, then I guess I'm standing guard. Or whatever it is we need to do. One of us needs to stay awake. She's going to more or less every now and then go outside, but she's going to go outside every now and then and just take a quick look around. Should I even waste a roll for that?
I mean, you can if you want. Well, what are you looking for specifically?
Anything helpful?
Okay. Well, you can see you're really not going to find anything helpful on the farm unless you're specifically going out and like looking for something like farm tools. If you're just keeping watch, then you're watching out for threats. That would be, of course, spot hidden.
Okay, then I'm definitely looking out for threats.
Okay, then go ahead and roll spot hidden. You actually spy one of the soldiers coming up towards the shed. He gets about 50 feet away, unzips his fly, and begins peeing on a tree. You have very clear view of it.
Sanity roll.
No. It's not that impressive.
No, it's probably for the best. It's not that impressive. Sage might wonder then.
Nope. Just a soldier taking a whiz. And that's the most menacing thing you can see.
Well, she's gonna go ahead and stay up until Chase comes back or Gwen or somebody else wakes up.
All right. Well, once again, the minutes sort of tick on and start passing into hours. Eventually, Chase, you realize that you're not getting anything productive done in the village, while everybody else seems more content to just pretend that the village doesn't exist in their own little shack. By now, the sun will have hit the highest point of the day and started to descend down the horizon into mid-afternoon. You've still got about 8 hours. Chase, after you've sort of putted around the village and found nothing of particular interest, what's your plan?
Do I have till the helicopter shows up?
About 8 hours.
Not hidden.
All right, go right ahead.
What are you doing?
You ain't
Killing
found
time.
shit.
You're killing something.
Pushing.
It's all of our hopes and dreams.
Go right ahead and
No.
push it.
Oh my god. Okay. Wow!
Jesus
Roll.
Christ.
Oh my god.
Roll 1d8.
Oh.
Oh no.
Another 4 hours wasted. You're still wandering around the village aimlessly, finding absolutely fucking nothing.
Oh my god!
Also, you might. Oh my god.
My camera cracks.
You trip over a slight divot in the docks and drop your camera. One of the lenses is cracked.
Because I just lose the camera at this point. All the good films in the duffel. That was 7 hours of not finding anything worth of.
Yeah.
Please don't push the photography roll. He'll find a way to set the film on fire.
You literally have not. You could not possibly have done any worse than you did in this entire.
Yeah.
day
Yep.
of-
Pretty
Yes.
much.
Can you tell me a more productive way to spend 8 hours?
yeah, like literally anything.
We're getting a little bit mean now.
You could play tic-tac-toe with a soldier and be more productive than you have been.
Darby is channeling Gwen.
I.
I mean, Chase is intentionally avoiding the party, is what he's doing, which is highly
Well-
productive to Chase.
Then in that
Yeah.
he has succeeded
Yep.
for 7 hours.
Ironically, since I've had 7 hours in a town that's cordoned off and separated from soldiers, is it possible to regain sanity?
You'd hang on. Let me go over Chase's sheet real quick.
Aren't you also surrounded by dead bodies?
That's
Dead
not the
bu-
first time.
Yeah, dead bodies as well as let's see.
Parks and other outdoor spaces anywhere he can speak freely.
Yeah. You would need to get away from the deep one bodies because those aren't gonna allow for sanity recovery.
I doubt he spends that much time there after the pictures didn't come out very.
Yeah. But yeah, if you wanted to take sort of a nature stroll on your way back, the long way around,
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll give 2 hours to the long way around.
that'll yup.
I don't like this new single dice. I don't. I mean, that'll get me more stuff, but I'm disliking how many fails are coming from it.
Yeah, no
don't-
joke.
I don't know if the okay.
I don't think it's the dice.
You can blame it on the dice. It's all right, Jay.
I don't. 'Cause
Alright.
It's just a display. It's
Alright,
just
we'll
the
just-
difference in display.
We'll see how y'all feel at the end. I'll find out how. Y'all give me shit. This is how it works.
I'm just gonna blame you.
Poor Jay. He gets bullied in this game.
Well, maybe he should stop killing innocent people.
Okay, but he's also the most successful member on the team.
I
Y'all
know.
are bullying him out of jealousy, all right? This is a
How many
clear
gold
case of
coins have
jealousy.
I voted for him getting?
A lot.
Yeah,
Quit
I
bullying.
support. Okay.
No bullying. This is a safe space. No bullying allowed.
He's gonna get a gold coin for the
Murder
number of
is
fumbles he
allowed.
gets in a single game.
Murdering children is even allowed, but we don't bully here. That's where we draw the line.
Hey, he didn't kill any kids.
I'm not saying he did. I'm just saying in general, things died a lot.
A lot of things died.
Yeah.
Not all of them were Chase's fault.
In fact, in the grand scheme of things, when we actually start counting out the statistics, the vast majority of things that have died were not Chase's fault.
That's only because we were in a small war.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Anyways, moving on. Again, time passes, the sun sets. Those of you who get some sleep can wake up now. Those of you trying to find your mental health will find your mental health. And those of you watching a soldier urinate, it doesn't take him 8 hours to urinate.
I hope not.
That would require sanity loss.
Actually, hang on, let's see here.
Oh my god.
Okay, it does not take him 8 hours to urinate.
I'm really glad you checked.
Sage is just standing by the door. Keep going. How does he keep going?
Someone
Where
ends up
does
having
it
to
all
go and
come
flag him
from?
over. Like, I mean, we still have the medic stuff set up. Do you need help, sir? We can tourniquet it.
Oh my god.
Either way, the sun starts to set, and as Chase finally returns to the shed, night has fallen. You are now T minus 6. Actually, no. We were 8, and then you.
We're 8
I
and then
took
he did
6.
4.
We're 4, T minus 4.
Yeah, you're T minus 4.
Yeah.
Well,
minus
as soon
4 is
as Gwen and Anderson wake up, Sage is going to be like, okay, my turn, you guys.
I mean, Gwen was the only one asleep from what I understood.
Yeah, you'd be able to grab Anderson. Gwen's the one who went to bed.
Anderson just took sanity recovery.
Yep.
I'm assuming that Gwen does not teleport anywhere in her dreams this time.
No, you're going to be in the deep, dreamless sleep.
Wonderful. I feel like I should get bonus sanity recovery for a deep, dreamless sleep, considering everything that's going on.
No! But alright, you're going to swap guard duty with Anderson, Sage?
Yep.
Uh,
Until somebody wakes me up.
Can I go ahead and roll a spot hidden?
you can go ahead and roll a spot hidden.
That same soldier still urinating.
Pretty much.
No, that's just a fail. She doesn't see anything.
She sees a puddle of urine, and it's like a fucking lake at this point. It really reeks. The aroma, or the
It's
What's the fuck
90% blood at this point.
oh,
Ugh.
actually like pieces of intestine floating.
Chunky.
Parvana, stop
Yeah.
practicing with spontaneous casting. You're killing that man.
Oh god.
What's the Latin words for ongoing urination? Because Parvana's mumbling them in a corner.
Oh god, no. You know that spell, the Breath of the Deep, Jay? It's the reverse of that. It's coming out. It's just constantly filling the
You're-
bladder instead of filling the lungs.
I mean, think of the utility of that spell. Like, everyone in the room has to go to the bathroom immediately.
I
It's
mean,
not
that would
life-threatening, but
be-
everyone has to go now.
Yeah. That would be. That'd be
That
really.
would
No.
suck.
No, that would flow. That would not suck.
No, god.
Ugh.
Alright. Long story short, you don't see shit. Do you want to push it?
Why the fuck not?
Because
I could
the
tell you
fumble
why the
will
fuck
fuck you
not.
up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I have
will.
to ask because it's like McDonald's. They have to ask if you want to supersize it. Well, not anymore. They had to ask if you wanted to supersize it.
Then people got too fat.
Exactly. Don't always supersize it. It's the fucking moral of the story for today.
You know what? I'm gonna treat myself.
All right, go right the
No.
fuck ahead. Nope, go
Can't-
right.
Good job, fucko. Now
Oh,
you're back to seeing things that aren't there.
Why?
You were over it. Now you're back into it. Congratulations.
no, she sees one particular thing. She catches her eyes off of something reflecting light as the sun starts to set. And she whips her attention to this shiny object to find a man with his trousers around his ankles laying the stinkiest shit. The absolute stinkiest shit. Roll for sanity.
What was his shit the shiny thing?
No, it was his ass. Sunlight reflecting off his ass. It's a sweaty ass. Okay, you lose one single sanity point.
Well, alright.
Chase arrives at about that time and he looks over and sees it and goes, well, that's just not.
The Shield Against Midnight, now with Foley effects.
You know how you were yelling at me for having drawn a turd underneath the Cthulhu?
It's canon now.
No, that's Cthulhu's not the one taking a shit. It's a GI.
But I lost sanity.
Yes, you did because you fumbled.
Gastrointestinal.
Remember how I told you I would punish you if you fumbled or not, if you failed? Remember how I specifically said I would do that?
Okay.
It could have been worse.
It could have been worse.
Could have been stuck standing there staring at the poop while we all got in the helicopter and flew away.
Mesmerized by a turd.
Wow, this is getting so off the rails.
Chase walks back to the shed. Are we done here yet?
And Gwen would wake up at this question and just kind of take a moment to kind of rise out of the grogginess of her little shitty nap, and she just mumbles something about, like, I thought I told you, like, the thing got set off early. Do we have to fucking be here all the way until midnight?
We have to be here till one of two things happen. The event that was supposed to happen happens, which we're not 100% sure what that was, so we don't know if it got set off early. Or a ride gets here.
Did-
Those are options 1 and 2.
Okay, but option one fucking happened, man. The guy said that they were waiting for a signal that was supposed to go off in the middle of the night, and it went off in the middle of the day.
Why would that signal be the thing talked about on a encrypted listening station network?
I don't know, man. Look, that wasn't it. If all that shit that just fucking happened wasn't it, I have no idea what it could possibly be. But by all means, let's stay camped out.
Chase looks at his watch. We have, what, 2 hours left?
Basically, yeah.
Our ride will be... The event will happen in 1 hour and 30 minutes. Our ride will be here in 2. We're not going to get very far on the boat at that kind of... But we can be back at the airport tonight after the helicopter gets here. 11-minute trip.
Whatever. And she just kind of shifts around a little bit to get comfortable against the wall again and just goes back to petting the dog.
Anderson's been too unsettled by the shit she saw to make any comments.
As it gets really dark out in the distance, you can hear echoing amongst the trees.
What
A
are they
haunting
feeding these troops? Oh my god!
A haunting siren's call of where will you be when diarrhea strikes.
I hate
You
you
just
so
hear in the
much.
background, how about some more beans, Mr. Taggart? I think you've had enough.
Jesus Christ.
Time to watch Daisy Saddles.
He rode a blazing saddle.
Oh,
Oh my
God.
god.
You're all idiots.
But as you settle into the shed, that's the most exciting thing that's going to happen for the next hour and a half. And as the time ticks on towards what was supposed to be the event as described on the radio, the encrypted radio that you intercepted, there's nothing. The woods are quiet. There's no bark of gunfire. Nothing.
Hey, did somebody wake Sage up for this?
I think the smell might wake her up.
Oh, okay.
There! I spot hidden at nothing, just to confirm that he did his job.
You don't see anything. The most interesting thing happening in the woods right now is that a few soldiers are under light discipline still trying to conduct a card game. That's it. That is literally the most interesting thing you can see for about 300 feet in every direction.
Chase just takes out a little black notebook and just crosses off a line. And turns to the group and says, "We're done."
Fucking told you.
It's fine, Gwen. You can lead the next mission.
Yeah, I'll lead the next mission where everyone stays fucking home and watches TV all day. I'm down with that.
How many of us have TVs?
It's almost the 70s.
Yeah, 69. Landing on the moon, all that jazz. Good
TVs
number
are
of people.
affordable.
Yeah.
Sage probably doesn't have one. Not worth it.
Oh, whatever. Listen to the
She was
radio.
raised in a convent, okay?
We're going to the picture show, guys.
No, she's just big on this new fangled thing called Netflix.
Anyways.
I wish.
I imagine Sage doesn't have to watch TV because she has enough out on dates to movies. She can just watch
Yeah.
the news reels ahead of them.
Regardless, as sort of time continues to roll on in the distance, you hear the beat of helicopter blades on the wind. Everybody give me a listen check.
I don't know why this added icon
Oh,
is just throwing me
no.
off so bad.
Oh yeah, wait, did I? Yeah, I did it right. Alright, now I'm gonna do rocket. Listen. Doggo hears.
All right, so it seems like everybody except Gwen can hear something a little interesting on the wind. It's not a helicopter approaching, it's multiple. Although Rocket hears this, he does not understand, so he simply thumps Gwen with his tail.
And she fucking kind of nudges it away because it's actually gonna create a bruise if he keeps doing that.
But yes, the rest of you hear multiple helicopters approaching. Although you, Chase, you can tell because you got a fucking 7. It's 3. It is exactly 3 helicopters approaching.
Can you tell what type?
They're
Yeah,
red. You can hear that they're red.
I mean, I was going to be sarcastic about there's really no way to know, but then I'm like, well, actually, all the helicopters used in that era, they were fucking Hueys. Of course, they were Hueys.
Chase goes and grabs his duffel and reaches big open field.
And she couldn't hear it, but Gwen seeing this kind of preparation gets her ass up.
No, you hear helicopters, but you couldn't tell that there was more than one. You're just aware
Okay.
that helicopter. You just wouldn't pick up on that little tidbit that there's multiple.
Fair enough.
Yeah, everybody hears helicopters. Well, technically everybody, but you could figure out there was more than one. It's just, yeah. Anyways. You don't see the other helicopters, though. A singular one comes over the trees and begins making its final approach vector on the field, slowly descending to land on the near the flare where there's available space with the outside of the peppercorn farm farm. the fuck is a pine? Well, actually, that would be useful because they grow those pine trees for Christmas. Regardless,
Oh my god.
regardless, they find a safe spot on the peppercorn plantation to land, and you see some more GIs sort of spill out of the helicopter, doing a quick sweep around to make sure that there wasn't any immediate threats before relaxing a bit.
Kind of, approaches the helicopter with the duffel and has his
A familiar face steps off the helicopter as Agent Hutchinson lights a cigarette and sort of steps out from immediately under the rotor blades, head hunched forward to speak to Chase. Voice raised because, of course, the helicopter is very loud. So what happened?
before or at the time designated.
Let's just say time designated and we can talk about it before later.
Nothing.
Well, that's almost a relief. Let's get everybody loaded up and we can talk about this back at Da Nang.
Hops in the back of the helicopter in a somewhat practiced form and duffel underneath his seat.
Anybody else getting on the helicopter?
Yeah, I guess Gwen will have kind of followed people outside upon hearing the helicopters and just kind of wordlessly get herself and Rocket into the back and basically have this big ass dog sitting on her lap.
Anderson would make sure that all of the intel they had gathered makes it onto the plane, double checks the building to make sure that they got everything, grabs a couple of the extra guns that they had to take back with her, and gets on the copter.
Okay.
Sage is just gonna grab whatever she has and get on.
Well, Hutchinson sort of takes a look around the peppercorn farm before he climbs on, and the GIs follow along with them, spilling into the available seats and setting on the deck of the helicopter.
Oh, before they take off, Chase gets off and then picks up Parvana and puts her on.
Yes. Just tosses her.
Just making
Oh,
sure
it's
her
like on
and
the
her doctor
ground.
bag make it on the helicopter. Confirming now.
No.
No argument.
Yes, absolutely. You get her on the helicopter with all of her supplies. And the rotors start picking up again as you lift off the ground and you leave Fuqua. On your way back over the village, you see the other two helicopters that you had picked up on. They've actually landed directly in the village, and you can see teams of soldiers moving throughout the town. Give me a spot hidden check if y'all are paying attention to this.
I'd
Wow.
like to state that's my second extreme.
Yeah. I think that kind of makes up for all your fail.
Hello? Hello.
Hello.
Oh,
Hello?
dear,
Yeah, I
did
had
I
to
get
reconnect.
booted?
Hello?
Angie, reconnect.
Yeah.
There we go.
Alright, we're good. We're good. We're all good now.
Oh,
I heard all your failures and then it just immediately went silent.
okay. That was weird. All right. Welcome back.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I can hear you now. I couldn't hear you still.
Okay.
Thanks,
So everybody
Discord.
can hear me.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, that was fucky. Right. So as you go over the village, you can see these teams of soldiers disembarking from the helicopter and moving to police the area. They're gathering up the bodies. They are, especially with the deep one bodies, they are gathering them and readying them for transport. It's not far to guess that these are Delta Green specific teams. You can actually see equipment on them, Chase, that you don't recognize. This is not standard Army issue. This is not standard Soviet issue. This is like stuff you've never seen before. But you don't have much of a time to get a good look at it before you're back over the water and they're out of sight.
Alright, let's give this a shot. I can't get a good picture.
Son of a.
I was gonna say, if I can get a good picture of it, I can always look at it later.
Yeah.
I guess that lens is still cracked.
Yep. Unless you would like to try to push that roll.
We're in a helicopter.
Please, God, yeah.
Chase would fall out of the helicopter. It's one thing to walk around town and push a photography roll. It's another thing to be leaning out of a helicopter and push the photography roll.
I mean, you wouldn't fall out of the helicopter. Your camera would.
I mean, that wouldn't be a huge offset, but okay.
Yeah. Anyways, it's a short hike back to Da Nang, where the pilot puts you down relatively easily. You make a soft landing out on the amongst the other helicopters in the airfield, and immediately the rotors start winding down as the soldiers don't really wait for you guys to get off. They kind of have their own business to go about. Hutchinson, though, would stay seated on the helicopter, giving the squad sergeant a pat on the back appreciatively, while waiting for everyone else to get off before he does.
Gwen would hop off after trying to get this big ass dog off her lap and get him on the ground safely, and then start heading towards. I don't know. Is there like some? I know this wasn't like a big airport, but there was some indoor space, I guess, for people, right?
I mean, there'd be hangars and such, of course, and this is actually a pretty big airport. This is the central airbase for all of the U.S. forces in Vietnam. This is a pretty big airbase.
Well, she would head to whatever the place is where people sit when they're not directly on a plane, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, just this is kind of a microcosm of it. This is a pretty huge airbase. Like I said, center of all United States air, the central airbase for all of the U.S. during Vietnam. But I will tell
She's
you
gonna
right
look
now,
for a coffee machine too.
you're kind of out on the middle of the airfield. There's really nothing nearby so much.
And this is like just after midnight.
Yeah.
Not many people milling around.
No, not really.
Would I be able to kill Hutchinson without anybody noticing?
No.
People
You would need
notice.
to roll some. You would need to roll some really extreme successes, several in a row, to get away with that.
The next time Hutchison gets in the helicopter, Anderson's just like, "No, Hutchison, what are you doing? Don't jump." Pushes him out.
Oh, so Anderson would help me with this. Awesome, awesome.
Oh my god.
Completely
Anyways,
straight face. Continue.
Well, no, I'm just waiting for you guys to get off the helicopter.
I'm off.
Gwen is off and looking around aimlessly because there's no place to get coffee nearby.
Sage is actually just going to be waiting for Chase. You can tell she's going to be standing there waiting to follow Chase to see what the hell's going on. Still.
Anderson's got the bag of evidence and is just kind of looking around. That's about it. She gets off the helicopter.
Chase motions for Hutchinson to go first to get off.
And then stabs him in the back. Hutchinson would get off the helicopter, nodding. sort
Chase
of
pulls his
respectful.
pistol, turns to the target, turns to the pilot, says, "Fly, you son of a bitch, fly!"
Oh god. Well,
No, that thought did enter his head, but after a few seconds, he dismisses it because he knows the range of those.
No.
And thus dejectedly gets off the helicopter.
Hutchinson sort of turns to the party as the rotor dies down and they can use their regularly speaking voices. Well, we recovered the aircraft. Why don't we head back to the hangar for debriefing, as well as let's try to get some coffee in India.
Sounds good, cut. Gwen just starts to head off in the direction that he presumably indicated.
Always the professional group, I can tell.
Talking about professional, did we really need to go in with that little information?
Hutchinson sort of looks to Sage and cocks one eyebrow. What else should I have told you? That I could have told you? What do you think I know that you didn't know when you went into this?
I have a feeling you knew more than you let on.
It doesn't matter at this point. We're out of there for now. Won't be the same. Get some coffee.
Well, as you guys head back towards the hangar, you would find your airplane parked out, parked, well taken care of. Nothing's bad's happened to the plane. It was clearly recovered in good shape. Anything you left on the plane would, of course, be there. And as would a tech team, just kind of milling about, not really doing anything of importance. But they've got a coffee machine set up on a desk in one corner of the hangar. And there is a pot of coffee.
Gwen pours herself a cup of coffee.
You can also see, sitting nearby, the back of another familiar face. Well, not that made way more sense in my head. And made way. You can
He's
see
a Ubisoft model. You can see.
Yeah,
his eyes.
exactly. You can see his eyes and his mouth from the back of his head.
Oh
No,
God!
you see the familiar greasy bald spot and ponytail of somebody you would recognize. Lukowski sitting at a radio, kind of slumped forward in the chair, not really moving. He doesn't say hi, he doesn't turn to look at you guys, he just kind of sits in the chair as you guys approach.
Morning, cunt.
Lukowski continues to not move, almost as if he hadn't heard Gwen.
Gwen doesn't give enough of a shit to actually make sure he heard her, and she just kind of goes and finds somewhere to sit.
Before Chase and Hutchinson can get it, just as the two of them would be about to go in, Chase kind of puts a hand on Hutchinson's shoulder in a controlled but not necessarily the most polite way. Basically backs Hutchinson against the wall of the hangar door.
Surprisingly, you're going to get away with it. You've now got Hutchinson sort of shoved up against the hangar door.
It's not a violent thing, but it is definitely a no. We're not going in there right now.
Anderson kind of just turns her back to the situation and is pretending she's not seeing it clearly, but is still listening.
Now listen, I'm not going to say anything in front of the rest. You should have gotten from the moment you were. Don't act like you didn't know as much as we did. You didn't know what was going to happen, but at the same time, you've got far more intel on the goings-on in this part of the world. On top of that, you knew the threats we could have potentially faced, and we were ill-equipped to deal with. You sent us into a very real situation that very really could have gotten all of us killed. The fact that we came out with as much intelligence as we did and alive, that's amazing. Want to talk about a professional group? You give them professional intel. This bullshit doesn't fly from here on out. For that, Chase steps back and goes inside the hangar.
Were you inside the hangar while you were eavesdropping? Not Gwen, Anderson.
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
Were you inside the hangar or outside?
Outside.
Well, okay, Chase would have waited for everyone to go. That
Yeah.
was kind of the point.
Yeah.
Chase is
And
not
I was-
doing this within visibility of everyone, but someone can hear. He's not saying it super quietly either.
Yeah, I was in. I mean, I wasn't implying anything, but I was assuming that Gwen was
Oh,
not in the vicinity with him, but
Yeah.
hopefully within earshot.
oh, I'm sure. If anyone really wanted to, it would have been something they could have heard. Chase wasn't gonna do it when there's like, if someone was behind him, I would want to have a stealth roll. Because Chase
I'm
would have.
gonna roll a listen check then.
No, you would. Well,
that's
okay.
fine.
You
Like
heard.
I said,
Anyways,
wasn't a secret. It's just he wouldn't have done it visibly in front of somebody else.
there's a moment where Hutchinson readjusts the collar of his shirt before stepping in the hangar, following Chase. He throws a look at Anderson, who is milling about nearby, before heading over towards the table that has been set up, like to play cards and such, but currently it's been cleared, and takes a seat. All right. He clears his throat. Let's see what you've got.
Anderson takes the bag that she's been carrying around and just kind of dumps it right in front of him. Doesn't really say anything, but gives him a look that just kind of suggests.
Which I'm
Have fun.
assuming is the UWM paperwork.
Yeah.
Chase pulls out from his duffel 6 to 8 rolls of film, depending on how you want to split that. 3 critical successes on photography on that.
Yeah.
He's got the briefcase. Actually, he doesn't have the dagger. Parvana has both the
dagger is
dagger
on-
and the grimoire.
No. The dagger is on Gwen's waist.
Okay,
Yep.
so Gwen has the dagger. Chase has a hand, which he puts on the table in an evidence still in its evidence baggie. Chase has the bugs that were removed from the boat. What else does Chase have? Chase has the UWM orders, not just the paperwork, but the orders specifically. Just a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
I will also say that Parvana has both of the journals that they got off of the Khmer soldiers.
That's right.
And the grimoire.
I will talk to Dan about that, but for the time being, I'm going to assume I will ask Dan if those are getting handed over. So I'm not going to make an assumption one way or the other. Whether those get put into the evidence pile.
Gwen
I
is
hope not. Sage was hoping to get her hands on some of those things.
Yeah.
Gwen is not gonna actually go ahead and hand the dagger over. I mean, you could probably look at her and see that there's a very strange fucking dagger on her waistband, but other than that, she's not actually making a move to turn it in.
Hutchinson leans forward on the table and picks over some of the paperwork that's been on the top. He sort of shuffles it since it was so unceremoniously dumped in front of him, organizing it into neat little piles before lifting up the hand. So it was a Deep One colony then.
Chase kind of tilts his head from side to side, considering. No, it seemed more like they had a collusion, but I believe the majority of the actual townsfolk, only the children, the younger members of the town, may have in any way had any genes connected with them.
You didn't see any hybrids?
Only the children.
Okay.
None of the adults showed typical signs.
UWM's presence there is distressing.
Consider the masks to be far more concerning thing than their presence alone.
No, you are correct, of course, but it would explain why we haven't had contact with the agency. If they've truly and well been infiltrated in such an insidious way, then
We also have another piece of information that can really be intelligence gathered here. The things that we encounter,
the faceless ones.
yes, those are the remaining bodies connected with the mass. Once the parasite host, I'm not sure which way to split this, has left, that's what.
Hutchinson sort of leans back in his chair and strokes at his facial hair. We've never encountered something like that before.
Unsurprisingly, fire is very.
Well, that's good to know, at least. So what we have here is the presence of a foreign intelligence agency who very much handles the same situations as ourselves, clearly infiltrated by an alien force in a town that was highlighted on an encrypted radio frequency that led to an attack by Chinese-backed soldiers.
Well, technically NBA back. Well, NBA and I guess UW. But that technically puts the UW backed combatant.
Yes, yes, it does. And I mean, it doesn't make sense, but it does if they've been. Allow me to explain a little bit. Back when the Second World War ended, Delta Green was in its infancy. It had existed as its current. It had existed in its current state for less than 10 years. But it became clear that this was not just a threat isolated to the United States, but we couldn't very well have a United States agency operating overseas. Even in the fractured state of Europe, it wasn't acceptable. The UWM was set up in the style of Delta Green underneath the coalition government, the Western government. So it could operate across the borders of Europe, at least Western Europe. Same goal, with one very key difference that we've had issues with in the past, but never one this severe. Delta Green is a much bigger proponent of when faced with these threats, we destroy them. As absolutely and thoroughly as we can, including any relics or associated literature. The UWM had a different policy based on different leadership. They believed in containment and study. I'm beginning to think that might be the source of our troubles here.
Considering the origin of the signal, first affected listening post location, two attacks connected both on American soil. Plainly put, it looks like someone has.
Yes, it does. But again, this is technically a US partially backed organization. We haven't had much contact with them in recent months. But this.
Oh yeah, they all got new nose jobs. They all look a little different, and they got bugs in their brain. plainly, I around if you had the opportunity.
That
Because I
would
can tell you, if this notebook is now actionable intelligence, plainly put, they're already planning the same to you. Let me guess, Red Hook was...
yes, Delta Green backed.
killed entirely. That was the connection between everything.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're working with attacking what is allied nation of the United States, place where U.S. troops are deployed. Yeah, I have a feeling someone's gunning for you.
You're right. And I think going to war may very well be the best choice in this case. I'm going to need to rally up a suitable list of targets. We do still have quite a comprehensive we know. God damn it, out of character. Sorry, brain just farted. As they were an associated agency, we do know where most of their facilities are. I'll be bringing that to the Joint Chiefs of Staff and
Where did
forwarding
you get that information from? They volunteer it?
Well, no, not in so much. We were involved setting them up. Delta Green's experience was lent on several occasions to help them set up their safe houses and containment facilities. A slow look of realization begins to spread across Hutchinson's face as he locks eyes on Chase. Is there any way you could tell these people were not human before they... And he gestures towards his head in sort of a frantic hand motion.
Well, one of them tried to suffocate me with his mind. Other than that, no, we just assumed other intelligence agents. It wasn't until they felt significantly threatened that we were going to kill them that apparently instinctive preservation hit them and they...
Hutchinson sort of leans forward, resting his elbow on the table and pinching the bridge of his nose. So then these things can potentially infiltrate our associations without showing
without
distinct
hesitation.
signs.
In fact, I'd almost assume to be, so if you... It does seem, however, that once you lost... I would interagency cooperation since that point.
That's a good call, as we also are going to have to make the shift and move into more offensive actions against them.
We do know that the whatever it is sides quite occupying the entire cranial cavity. I don't know if done to the face actively inserting the parasite, or if that's simply the result.
Well, this is all very good information to pass on to our medical teams, and of course the wet work teams that will have to go in for this, but at this point, that's not your job anymore. You've done your job. You were an intelligence team, and you got us the intelligence we needed. Hutchinson pushes his chair back and starts to stand up. He, after standing up, begins gathering up the files. I do have another task for you, though. Your group. Something a lot simpler, something that you can rest and clear your heads.
Gwen groans nonetheless.
The attack in Red Hook left us without our East Coast safe house. We don't have anywhere on the northern seaboard. That's part of the northern seaboard. I'm overthinking it. We don't have anywhere on the northern seaboard for our agents to rest and turn in their resources. I think it would be best if you took the time off to help us set up that safe house. You won't be involved directly for a while. You'll get some time to relax. We can bring some people onto the team to help spread the load, since I know you are a small team.
No. No, 100 times no. Relax? New mission? You don't understand. We were co-opted into this without intelligence, and cozy rest position, set up another safe house in the middle of a war? We all have jobs. We all came from other organizations. What, we think that we're just... I mean, we didn't really sign up for this. We were conned into it. You don't exactly have the goodwill to just move us along to the next mission, Hutchinson. We were lent out. We have places to go, homes to return to. People we care about and need to see.
Hutchinson sort of pauses in gathering the paperwork and looks Chase in the eye. And is that where you'd like to go to, back to now?
I'd like to have the option. We weren't
Done.
given an option here. Brought us
Hutchinson,
along under false pretenses, and we did the job. We survived. By the grace of God, we made it back. We didn't sign into this war yet. We haven't even got a chance to deal with the ramifications of what happened in the last 24 hours, let alone the last week. We all need
Fine.
time to think. I mean, I'm speaking for the rest of the group here, and I apologize for that, but as far as me and the way I see it, we're not quite ready. Some of us have significant injuries. Some of us have deeper scars that we need to deal with. We're not ready to work HR in Red Hook, even if it is on US soil.
fine. You have, as you said, done your job. And we can wait on setting up a safe house. It's not going to be mission critical for some time. If you want to take a break, you want to head home and see your family, fine. I will not force you to stay here. And that goes for all of you. As I said, this is now going into offensive operations, which you are not trained for. That is not your prerogative. That'll be our next shift in actions. And again, if you want to take a break, fine. Take your break. See your family. Hold them close. But I can't promise you that when this war really picks up, that no matter how far away from it you are, you'll be safe. It's not how these things go.
Chase just kind of a almost perfect Anderson scowl. Just kind of shakes his head. I don't understand, man. Chase kind of breaks this professional demeanor at this point. It's not about being safe. None of us here is really afraid. We need time. We're not we weren't built into this. Some of us barely saw combat. Gwen's here been holding on for life and limb with almost no information and threats to her family the whole time through. And that's made her an asshole and a pain in the ass to deal with.
Yep.
I don't blame her,
She
but,
finishes her cup of coffee and like angrily crumples it up and shoves it in the trash can.
you know,
Wait, I thought they were still having a private conversation.
no.
No,
this
this
the
is
big
they're inside.
party
They're in the
discussion.
hangar.
Oh, okay.
Chase
This
has
is
gotten
everybody.
fed up enough to actually just say this stuff out loud. We don't want to run away. What we need is time. But if you're not going to
Time.
give us time, we're going to take our time. Because all
I
of us
will-
here are trained individuals. If we really wanted to get away, we would. And you know that deep down.
I do, and that's why I'm willing to give you that time. As I said, setting up a safe house is not mission critical. If it was, I could contract out to somebody else. I would rather have your team, but I can complete it without you. You will have your time. That's what I'm telling you right now. You'll have time to heal your injuries. You'll have time to rest, clear your heads, and come back at this.
See, here's the thing, asshat. I was brought on as the glorified taxi driver. Why the fuck should I stay now? Because I can tell you right now, I wasn't flying a plane. That's not what my use was. I don't even fucking know what my use was. But it sure as hell wasn't being a pilot for more than a week or two.
Well, it certainly looks like you picked up something interesting along the way. And Hutchinson's gaze goes straight pointedly to the dagger on Gwen's hip.
Oh, you fucking want it? And she picks it up and she throws it on the table. Oh yeah, it's there now. Except, wait, I can fucking bring it back into my goddamn hand because I'm cursed by it now. You see how this works? I didn't want this.
Not
Anderson's,
sure you should have told that to Hutchinson.
Anderson's kind of just standing in the background. She wasn't aware that Gwen was cursed by the dagger, so she's just kind of looking a little bit nervously towards Gwen.
Hutchinson.
Looks nervously to Parvana and then back to Gwen and is just really confused at this point.
I think you've answered your own question why you stay on. 'Cause
Also,
I-
next
if-
time that I can just get completely fucked over, because you know this little dipping my toe in the water being fucked over is supposed to excite me for the full thing.
Hutchinson just kind of takes a deep breath and sighs. So, you're just going to take your little knife and go home then? Is that what happens? You go back to see your father, live happily? Is that the plan? Where are you going to be when the tide starts to creep up high enough to swallow you and your family and everyone you care about?
You're missing the fucking point, bud. I didn't sign up for this.
But you're here now.
Oh yeah, and that's part of the plan, isn't it? Because once you get me backed into this corner, I have no fucking choice. But I didn't fucking sign up for this. I don't want this. I actually really don't give a shit about this.
Then by all means. And Hutchinson gestures towards the hangar door with one hand.
Gwen just kind of stands there staring at him because she's still got that little voice in the back of her head saying that like there is leverage regarding her father and she doesn't fucking want to do something that actually puts a legitimate target on him, but she doesn't say anything.
Kind of a, I'm sure there's a pretty uneasy goes around the room. Kind of looks at each member of the team and then Listen, I know none of you really knowable. Without pretense, training, or understanding. I'm gonna teach you all a lesson right now. ID, puts it on the table.
Hutchinson won't stop him. His arm sort of drops, the gesture now no longer needed. But he does turn to look at each of the remaining party in turn.
Anderson's just staying put, but she respects Chase's decision.
It's a little easier to do when someone's gun isn't pointed at the person that you love, huh?
Was that to me?
No, that was to Hutchinson.
Hutchinson sort of takes a deep breath, lets it out slow, and then snatches the knife off the table and drives it so deep in that it buries the guard before stepping forward into Gwen's face. Where is this collection of pilots who are ready for this, who are trained for this, who know what's going on? Where are they? What is their names? I would love to meet them so I didn't have to deal with little shits like you.
Where did he just bury this knife?
In the table.
Oh, okay. Gwen just kind of, she doesn't flinch back, she just stands there very rigidly and just glares at him. Bitch, if I knew you think I would fucking be here? That's your goddamn job.
Fact of the matter is, nobody is prepared for this. Not ever. No matter how much training you give them, no matter how long they've been in the military, no matter what awful things they've seen man do to another man, once we start getting into the big boy stuff, they can't fucking handle it. There is no training that prepares you for this.
So better pick up a girl from the streets who isn't even the fucking military to solve your problems, huh? Is that how this works?
You got the job done, didn't you? Let me put it this way. We are in this for the species, boys and girls. This is not a fucking game. These are monsters. Things we don't understand, things we can't understand.
Oh, we're dealing with monsters, alright, buddy.
You think that's an insult? Of course we have to resort to some naughty shit sometimes. It's the only way we can keep up. You don't understand what these things have done, what they will do if we don't fight back. And like I said, if you want to run and hide, by all means, there's the fucking door, but you will not be safe when they come for you. I can tell you right now, if somebody's got a gun to your head, it's not me. It's probably somebody a lot worse. But please, if you want to give up and let them keep that gun to your head, step out of that room, wash your hands of me, and be done with it forever.
Gwen just kind of glares at him for a moment longer and takes a second and then kind of wheels the hand back into, or the knife back into her hand just to get it away from him because she doesn't like him.
Okay, that's going to be 1d6 sanity.
Oh, okie dokie then. It's worth it to be a brat. Hang on, 1d6.
Hutchinson's eyes snap to the dagger, and he takes a step back, although he doesn't otherwise he doesn't immediately like whip out a gun. He just takes a step back, but doesn't necessarily He's getting out of arm's reach. Jesus
Mhm.
Christ. Can't think of a better way to put that. But he doesn't say anything. Now he's just got his eyes locked on Gwen. And they stare at each other lovingly before wrapping up in each other's arms and making out furiously right in the middle of the
Wow,
hangar.
this is very bad. He's twice her age. Nope, 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 nope.
You're not saying anything. I'm not saying anything.
Well, yeah, because they're just glaring at each other. I don't know what to say. She's not gonna outright stab him. She's just thinking about it a lot. No, she's not like willing the knife to go into him.
Mm-hmm. Hutchinson stands up straight, fixes his shirt that had gotten a little bit rumpled in the more heated altercation. As I told Chase, I'll tell you again right now. You will have time to rest and relax and really decide if you want to be part of this. So I'll tell you now, there is nobody on the face of this globe who is not a part of this. Just the ones who know. Guess what? You know. So if you are willing to step away with that knowledge and make it somebody else's responsibility, by all means. There will be men fighting this war. I can guarantee you that. Hutchinson then gathers up the intelligence in the duffel bag, throws it over his shoulder, and leaves the room. Assuming nobody stops him or stabs him in the back.
Not coming from Gwen.
As soon as he steps out the door, silenced bullet just passes through his
Yeah.
skull as Chase was standing there in the doorway.
Yup.
And suddenly, Chase and Gwen are on great terms.
The
And all of a
technicians.
sudden, the bug that was inhabiting his head flies out. Chase calls pull, Sage fires. It's a dead finger.
Oh God.
Here we go. The fan fiction segment. Anyways, but Hutchinson would not slam the door, but he closes the door behind him. And the technicians who had not been paying attention until voices got raised and a knife got slammed into the table turned back to pretending to not pay attention anymore. As well as the whole time, Lukowski has not turned around.
The fuck is his problem?
Is anybody going to go over and look?
Anderson will go over and look.
Okay. You find not Hutchinson. You find Lukowski's again hunched over this desk in front of the radio. He
She's
is
Go ahead.
he is alive. You can see his chest heaving with a regular breathing rhythm as you get closer. Even you can see his arm moving as you get a little bit more closer until you peer over his shoulder and see that in front of him is a off-white powder. And he's going over it with a razor blade, cutting it into lines before scooping it all back in together, and then cutting it back into lines. And he scoops it back together, cuts it into different lines, and almost, again, not paying attention to anything else going on in the world around him, just repeating this mechanical action of cutting that off-white brownish powder into lines, scooping it together, and then cutting it back into lines.
Can I roll stealth to get behind him?
You really don't need to roll you can walk up. You can walk right up behind him.
All right. Anderson's going to walk up right behind him and tap him on the shoulder and kind of clear her throat.
I am going to need a dexterity roll from you.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
As you tap him on the shoulder, he leaps from the chair, completely startled horribly by the whole action. He whips around and the chair gets flung backwards at Anderson with some force, and you're going to take a single point of damage from getting nailed with the chair. but you are faced now with a Lukowski who is breathing rapidly, eyes scanning the room, pupils wide and bloodshot, as well as his face thoroughly flushed as he just kind of looks around to see that everybody is now looking at him after the loud and frankly girlish noise he made when he was startled.
What you doing, buddy?
This is our requisition officer. Fuck.
Out of character, he's also the person in charge of your teams and straight.
Oh yeah, technically
Nah.
he is.
Fuck that. Sage is gonna kill him.
I mean, if you want to do that in a room full of witnesses, be my guest.
I have a feeling the room full of witnesses will say it was self-defense.
Lukowski blinks one eye and then the other as he looks at Anderson. I was clearing my head. When the fuck did you guys get back?
Just
Are
a
you
little while ago.
stoned?
No. Are you?
Yukon
How
just
long have
stares
you
at
been
him
clearing your
and then
head?
stares at the table with a giant knife hole in it, and then looks back at Lukowski, and just goes, "You know what? I've got bigger fucking problems than you right now. I'm gonna go check out the plane, I guess." And she just kind of goes and heads back towards the plane to start giving it the once over and get Rocket in and everything.
I'm sorry, what did you ask, Sage?
How long has he been clearing his head? Sage was
That's,
asking.
That's Hutchinson, or God, I'm gonna keep messing those two names up. Lukowski squints his eyes and looks around the room for a clock and says, I don't know. I was talking with Hutchinson and told me what we're really fucking doing here. Had to just relax a little bit.
You done relaxing?
No, I'm not fucking done relaxing. What does it fucking look like to you?
Anderson shrugs and just kind of walks out.
Where the fuck's Chase and all this shit? If you're back, where's fucking Chase?
Anderson yells back and he's gone.
Fucking hell. Lukowski slumps back down into his chair and just rubs his eyes. All right. Honestly, at this point, I think it's going to be a good time to call it. That's really going to be it for season 2. As the next session, we're going to get into the fun of rolling our advancements as we move on to our next mission. Congratulations, you survived Vietnam! Yay!
Yay!
But I think that is going to be it for roleplay this evening. Actually, we've still got half an hour. We can do advancements tonight.
Yeah.
Cool.
But
I'll have to
if
go
you-
in like 15 minutes.
oh well, okay.
We could
If
do
you
her
don't get-
first.
Yeah, we can do you first, but yeah. Be thinking, everybody, about what you want to do with your gold coins, because that's going to come up next week. In the meantime, thank you everybody who tuned in to The Shield Against Midnight. Please tune in this Sunday where we will be holding a talk show instead of the usual Voices in the Wilderness. Have a good evening, and thank you for tuning in. Good night, everybody.
What do I roll for luck again?
1d10.